Hi, this is Sanjay Parihar. I'm from Houston. I'm a technologist, and as we mentioned, we're gonna bring a very notable faces from technology, uh, basically technology leaders, to talk about their journey and get inspiration from that. So, um, in that series, so Mr. Sandesh has joined us. So thank you and welcome, Mr. Sandesh, to join this show. Thank you very much. Um, and yeah,
Thanks
and
for having me on this show.
absolutely. And along with me, Mr. Anand is also here. Hey, Anand.
Hey, Sanjay and Sandesh. Thank you.
Great. So, thank you very much. This is definitely going to be a very inspirational conversation for the community which we want to cater on and we want to talk to. And as a technologist, it is always a fun to have a discussion, for both of us, Anand and I, to kind of talking on the technology and understanding the next step from the leaders like you, Mr. Sandesh. So let me start the questions here. Um, so, Mr. Sandesh, when I see Mr. Sandesh from LinkedIn, I see the founder and CEO of ZEN ART, serves as a board member of ZEN ART and angel investor in various early stage and growth-oriented technology company in the US and Asia. The entire journey should be very passionate and it's definitely a very tough journey. It would be good to hear from you about your inspiration journey.
Well, my journey in the United States started about, I guess now it's about 28 years. I came here in 1992 on exactly 15th August, Independence Day of India.
Wow. Wow.
So it's a memorable day for me.
Yeah.
And that was my first time foraying out of my house. I mean, I was shielded, in terms that I spent my whole school, college, even working my job for a year and a half after I finished my graduation in engineering from Bombay in Vivekananda University, Vivekananda College of Engineering. So the first time I left my home ever to live on my own. I was working. I was with I'm one of the two siblings. I had an older sister who got married in 91 and she was gone from home. So I was the only son with my parents in Bombay. And when I came, it was you can say shock to the system because I didn't know freaking how to, other than making a cup of tea, I didn't know anything else. And it was a journey where I still remember I came in a day earlier than all the other students in Florida. There was Pensacola, Florida, and where there was nothing more than a two-story buildings was the most you would see. And you lived a life in Bombay, with the hustle and bustle in Bombay, whatever it was, busy life.
True.
And it started from there, and I was very confused. I thought for a good month and a half, 2 months, I was very sick, homesick. I wanted to go back, and I guess I persisted because then I always used to think that, being in engineering college, the goal was always to go to America. And I had two of my very good dear friends, Raju and Ajay. And Ajay was the one who used to motivate us that we need to go to the United States in software. And he used to be the one who was be like in Hindi word, the guy who put that kida, in that you had to do something. So I came here and that's where the journey started. And then, for some reason I had to then move up north from Florida. I was there for one full semester. And I decided to take up because I used to work in India in software. So I had the experience. So I came up, I converted my student visa to a H visa, was working for a company. My first job was consulting with Dun & Bradstreet, which coincidentally happens to be my customer now.
Wow.
And, and then I consulted for Merrill in World Financial Center for almost 2 years. And that's where I continued my master's in Stevens. I finished a master's in computer science in Stevens. And when I was doing all of these two things, and I did a third thing, I started my own company back in 95. And I had a partner then. And the big difference, and I sold that company in 2003, my first company. And the biggest difference between this company, which is ZEN, now it is called ZEN ART because the name is dear to me. The old company, the original company was ZEN ART of client server computing. And this is ZEN Infotech, which I've renamed it as ZEN ART. So the interesting thing is, I always tell people in ZEN ART, the first company, the business, I sit here in a room, the business will come walking in, you know. You didn't have to, like, you put effort, but the business to come. It is easy. In other words, what I'm trying to say, it was easy getting business. IT, new companies, you know. I'm talking about 96, 97. People were, you know, you go to any companies, they were dying to get people in. Knowledge was not there. So it was so easy that I grew so rapidly in 2 years. You know, we were like a $20 million company in less than 2 years. Okay.
Oh, wow.
2-3 years, we were just, it was rampant. Like, Then I flip it to ZNA. The amount of work you had to do to even generate the 1 million was 10 times much more than what it was with ZEN ART. You know, so and it was tough. You know, every possible way, right? It was tough in getting recognized by good companies to get on. I mean, then by the time ZNA started 2003, after 2003, which was technically 4 or 5. Because I had a management contract with the company that bought my prior company. So I only started ZNA towards the end of 2004, really 2005. And 2005, all this big financial service company, all these companies have they had this the ironclad China, whatever you want to call it, the China gate, where you needed to be a vendor. Getting a vendor, becoming a vendor was next to impossible in companies like JPMCs. The bigger it was, the more difficult it was. So it was very difficult to generate sales and generate profit margin. And there was another challenge. In the first company, profit margin was a given. You know, the labor cost is not that high. Profit margin was very high. And here it was different. So you have to navigate through all of this. So one thing I learned in this exercise, and then I went through, now I can really say went through this. This is the second wave, right? With my current company. 2008 was the first wave when the financial market collapsed. Now the pandemic, which is still ongoing, which we are still on the wave only. It's still tossing us up and down. But one thing I learned is, in all of this is everything in life needs a definition or identity, a branding. And you have to find that identity for yourself, what it is as a company, as a leader. And once you decide that this is your identity, you live and die with it. You may succeed, you might fail, but that's the key. Now, what was my identity at that time? I mean, I went through a lot of soul searching around 2008. I realized that business needs to change a little different. And then 2012, 13 also did that. So we did a lot of things which rebranded the company in general. And part of it is we are seeing the dividends for what we did. I mean, I'm an investor in a company that I founded a year and a half back. It's a startup. Got to do more with AutoML and AI product, which is, if not for the COVID thing, I feel it would be doing very well. I mean, we're still doing okay, but I've been doing very well. And challenges are there. So obviously, all of this needs capital, you know, to do anything like this. But the belief that you have to have belief that you know what you have, that is what you're gonna follow through. I mean, you're gonna live and die with it. You're gonna either succeed or you're gonna fail with it. And that has always been my motto. I mean, I failed in life also, right? I mean, my first company, I was also, me and my partner, we invested in a fiber optic company. And we got funded by a very huge VC firm for $9 million.
Oh, wow. Wow.
You know, so everything looks, at least from our perspective, everything looked good, that we did the right thing. But unfortunately, 2001, the whole telco market had collapsed. You had companies like the heavyweights of the world, like the Lucents, Nortels, they all went down under, bankrupt. And it was not a good It was not a good scene in 2001. In fact, after the VC firm had come for my company that I had co-invested with my partner, we had an offer from Cisco for a buyout. But the VC firm, I won't give his name right now, he's a very well-known name, CEO of a very big firm now. He was CEO for a huge telco firm in recent time. Didn't want that deal because he thought it was $1 billion cap value that we're looking at, and to shortchange into a couple of hundreds of millions was, not the calling. So you learn, right? That's a learning experience. That a stone, what they say, stone in hand is what a bird in hand is two in the bushes, right?
Right.
So sometimes you have to see your investments for what they are. Like my CPA was at that time a smart kid, still is, and he kept saying that his father used to say that you should invest, but don't fall in love with the investment. You should know when to offload it. What is the time you need to keep persisting with it? Can get emotional with it. So it is. So you learn all these things. This is all learning experience that you have. But I think the key thing is to run a business. You have to have that confidence in yourself, belief in yourself that this is something that you can do. There will be a lot of challenges. Trust me. To me, I always say when you run a business, people look at me. I mean, I'm on the golf course. People may think, "Oh, what a life he's got." I always say, running a business is when you're working for everybody else. You're not working. People say, "Oh, you're working for." No, I'm working for everyone else because for the last 20 years plus, I don't remember I had a vacation where I could not look at my phone. So I'm always tuned in at any given point of time. But I enjoy it for most part of it. There are days when I don't enjoy it also, but the most part I enjoy it because obviously it still gives me the independence, still gives me the flexibility, still gives me the flexibility that on a Monday or a Friday I can be at a golf course. But I do it mostly for work. But that is there, and plus it's a stress buster. So it's got its own fair ups and downs. But people should. In order to, my advice is anyone who wants to start a business is they should have belief in themselves. They should know what they're getting into it for, not for the short-term gain. I mean, there are people who have profited from short-term. I'm not saying that. But for most of the people, I think the higher ratio of people are in there. They have succeeded being there for a decent period of time, or they have either failed or succeeded. But you have to be prepared for the long haul. I mean, that's the only word. Unless you come with a vaccine for corona, then that's a different thing.
Yeah, it's very short term and highly. And that doesn't happen all the time. Wow. And definitely, thanks for sharing this inspirational and like you said, it's a belief system is something very important for carrying it forward because that will take years worth of work to get to a certain level. Anand, it's pretty inspirational, right?
Yeah. Hey, Sandesh, that's good actually. That's nice, to share all that, and that'll be inspirational and a lot of insights. But what is the current exciting, I'll go to the next, question. What is the current exciting things you're doing for future actually in this current scenario? What are you like, what is exciting you and what are you planning for ZEN ART, if you can share so that the users can just understand the landscape.
So obviously for me, the current exciting, there are two exciting things. One is golf, always exciting, So you ask me, that is the number one exciting thing.
That's true. Yeah. You need that. Yeah.
So, but the most exciting thing, what I'm doing right now is, like I said, I have this investment into an company, which is, we have two products. One is in AutoML, ZLabs.com. You can look at their website. And the other is the entity resolution product, data cleansing. So just the fact that, see, because even though I'm the majority stakeholder investor, but I have been through the whole process. Like I have a CEO who runs it, CEO by the name of Elliot Polanco. very sharp guy, very super smart and very super sharp guy. I have a good team around him. Even though I let them run with it, but I'm part of the process in a lot of ways. I mean, right now, because I got my hands full with ZNA, I don't involve myself on a day-to-day basis, but I'm still got my pulse on that company. But till I would say like maybe about 5 months back, I was full-time engaged in that in every aspect, wherever. So the whole aspect of that company, right? Just the startup company, the growing pains, the building a product, as you guys know, Anand, you're in product, you're in the IT space. Building a product is no joke. It is. You think that it can build it, but to build especially an enterprise product, right? It is one of the most toughest things that you can think of to build, because you don't know what is the pitfalls, what are the bumps in the road that are going to come, and every customer is different. And now Elliot comes from a background where he's seen this. He's worked for banks, he's worked with different vendors, and he's seen how difficult it is to build an enterprise product. The number one thing is to begin with the people. You have to have the right team.
Right.
You may think that you have the right team with bringing in talented people, but that's not necessarily just talent. It's a body language, it's your mental makeup, it's a combination of a lot of things. It's how you are coped to deal with different situations. The situations that come, there are deliverables. So we went through that. I mean, we have this huge challenging project that we are doing it. I can't disclose you too much about it. It's confidential.
Yeah, that's true. That's
it's okay. I can say this, that we are doing something for a major sports league. And it is one of the most challenging problems to have, and we've been on it. We've been on it. I'm on the calls every week. We are not close to the finish line, but I'm sure that we will be closer to the finish line. We will crack the code. But once we crack the code, obviously the monetary benefits would be huge. But what it does for me is the satisfaction that you persisted with it. You went through it. You didn't back down. You stood up and you were able to deliver. So that is one part of it. The other part is the product by itself, the sales call that we're doing, that we are trying to sell in this pandemic when their customers are not selling in the way we are going about, convincing customers. I mean, customers are every customer that I talk to and they talk to, they're all convinced they will get into a conversation, because this is a challenge, this is an issue that faces them. But it's only because of the current situation. It's a little slow for them to pull the trigger, and that's the challenge we are facing. So it's an ongoing challenge. So we are, until this pandemic goes away, because it's a startup, the revenue is very minuscule right now compared to what CNA's revenue is. So to just get through that, it's a whole challenge. It's a whole learning experience. I mean, the benefit is that they have me as so far, at least till now, as ZNA as a funding arm, and because of which they could sustain and survive. But if it was on their own, I don't know how they've been able to make it through. But it is like I said, it's not like I have an unlimited resource of capital to sustain it. But it has been a journey where we have gone through the ups and downs. More downs so far, but now we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. So it is. I'm pretty sure lot of these entrepreneurs who build product companies, they go through the same channel. Even for that matter, even services companies, like I told you, right? When I started my second company, it was so difficult to just think about where to start from. How do you start? So yeah.
So that's good actually. Yeah, I think Sanjay itself is a blockchain expert, and he also in the past ran a company, a startup actually for blockchain. Yeah, Sanjay, go ahead.
Yeah, and like you're saying, I mean, it's been always part of challenge, and it's so much ups and downs happens that it's always rock and roll. Yeah, and on that line, when I see automation and AI, that is changing the entire perspective. And how do you see customers' reaction or request now in this new paradigm or new automation
race, basically. I'm sure the thought process for the customer has also been changed. How do you see the customer request now versus earlier with respect to more?
I mean, it's definitely changed. The whole business perspective. Everybody's talking of digital platform. Everybody's talking of collaboration.
Right.
So that has obviously changed. So you have to be on that same. You had to be on board. Otherwise, you'd be left behind. AI is an upcoming field anyway. I mean, AI is something that I don't think so has been fully embraced as of yet. It is an ongoing field where everybody is learning, everybody is trying to get the most out of it. So from a customer's point of view, I mean, listen, there are customers who are doing a lot of this engagements in the past 4 years. That's what I've been seeing in the last 5 years. They've all been talking about app modernization, application modernization, business transformation. What business transformation really means is you're trying to consolidate going on the cloud. Basically that has been the prerogative, right? Your business, in a nutshell, everybody talks about business transformation means you consolidate or blow out your data center, bring it all to cloud, reduce the cost. At least that's what they thought. And then they realize, gee, I mean, my bills from Amazon and these cloud providers are much more than what I thought it would be. And then they're doing what you call is repair part, not there's a word for that. When you try to repatriation. So there's a lot of repatriation going on where they are seeing their own, this cloud was not the ideal solution. My data center was cheaper. So a lot of these apps are being moved back. So that was part of your whole application modernization, business transformation that was coming in. So with that came in this thing about AI, where customers saw that, okay, you know what? I mean, just a simple example. If I'm a company with so many data scientists, so hard to find a good data scientist, why not buy a product that can cut down that work? Data robot or data robot is one of the companies. There's so many companies like that. One of the hottest companies now, and they came into play. Their valuations are off the roof. And we built a company more in those lines, in like a Tamer or a Prasada. That's what our company is. I mean, all these companies were getting valuations that were mind-boggling. So industry has taken a shift because they're looking for efficiencies, and then and in all of this came RPA, which is trying to automate
intelligent automation,
process, trying to automate bots. Especially you take a typical use case is like a mortgage company, right? They want to automate the whole process, cut down labor intense, or even a brokerage company, a financial services company. So RPA has been picked up, and that's where you see companies like UiPath is. At least before the pandemic was operating, was off the chart. I mean, they just raised about another 200 plus million. Last year they raised 550. So all of this is coming in, but is it coming in at a pace where the customers are each and every customer is adapting it? I mean, to you. I mean, they are adapting, and I'm pretty sure because there's a pressure. But are they utilizing it to the most? I mean, that's $1 million question. I don't know, and I don't know the answer for that, and I don't think so. So what is the pace at which these customers really go out and utilize? I mean, I know RPA is being utilized. I know they
are now in the enterprise.
Yeah. I mean, I know that, but some of the AI solutions, I don't know how much of that. I mean, I know like reading documents, they're applying AI
document
solutions.
Processing.
Yeah, they're doing that, but not across the board. I'm not sure if it's being utilized to the extent that people think it is. It has to be utilized.
Right.
So it's still got a long. I mean, it's here to stay. There's no doubt about it. Still, adaptation has to increase from a customer point of view. But it is there. I mean, it's there. Like we are pitching it to our customers with our AI product. Certainly, there is a inclination to learn more, and like we see more traction actually on our data product, on our data strategy product, which is more of a data quality product rather than our AutoML product. AutoML product, we are seeing little traction. We are seeing traction, but not as much as on the data side. And data side, we go in every customer we talk to, there is a conversation there. Whether they are going to be buying it or not, we don't know. But I mean, this is a constantly shifting industry, and I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and like you said, there's definitely awareness and education is going on, and then based on that awareness, basically they are taking the next step as such for the more automation as we go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, so how was like Sandesh? How do you see this tech landscape actually utilization or? Because they're saying that you can work remotely now and all that whole utilization of these tech industry as such, the landscape is changing, right? And the thought process is going on, but what do you see, like what is happening in this current, if you can give some idea around that, because you're in business.
Big time.
We have some feeling because we also work, but still,
No, big time. I mean, customers are happy right now. All the customers I've spoken to. I just was playing golf with the CAO of a big financial services firm, huge financial services firm, and they're happy because it's cut down his travel time. 3 hours has gone to 0, which means he can sleep more, right? Spend more time with his family. So they're enjoying it. And then there's another one who's also, she's a big time director in another bigger financial institution. Again, all of these people on an average used to commute 2.5 to 3 hours a day. They used to spend that much time just traveling, right? You go to New York, it's an hour, 15 an hour, 30 minutes, right? You live in Jersey, Connecticut, anywhere. So you're saving 3 hours, and plus the travel time, plus the tiredness, right? So they are all enjoying it. Plus now you sleep more. Everyone that I talk to, they get to sleep that extra hour. You're more fresh. And they feel like they're doing more work, and which I agree, because when you're working from home on a Zoom, your whole day goes on Zoom meetings. So you don't know when day starts and day ends. So they're enjoying it now. But my personal opinion, again, that whatever that is worth, is eventually I think they will come to a point of time when people will start missing their office camaraderie, the office environment, where because you're sitting at home. This is like you're sitting in you're seeing people on Zoom meetings and everything, which is fine. But essentially, at some point of time, they'll come to a point where you'll need that office environment back again. But yes, the world has shifted already. The world has started changing. Everything, right? Not just business, right? Schools, colleges. I'm pretty sure schools, especially schools, I don't know if we'll ever have a school or a college where you have to go to a structure, a 4-wall structure, where students have to meet and assemble to gain knowledge and education. I think that might be changing for the long run, because parents will be scared to send their kids back to school. So that has a huge possibility that education might go virtual going forward. But again, to me, I see the efficiencies of it, but from a social networking point of view, I think it's a huge downside, because we all grew up in a generation where you see the face, you put the face, right? To who you're dealing with in actual life flesh. And this is going to be different. So I guess it's a different one, which...
Now, what about those resources, Sandesh? Like those resources, now we had like, come and we will talk to you, we'll have a face-to-face. Now things are changing, right? The whole technology people, like, of course they're needed, but look at the landscape, it's changing, right? I can have a remote guy.
No, you can.
Working.
It is changing, but you see, it works, again, it works very well for the Facebooks, the Googles, the tech companies of the world, right? You can work. But what happens to the manufacturing companies? What happens to the brick and mortar companies? For them, they cannot change it, right?
Retail,
so you still have that personal touch and feel. And listen, I talk to salespeople, right? So a lot of salespeople, to get that mindset, when you have been doing is traveling by plane, meeting customers, entertaining them. Now suddenly it's only Zoom meetings that you can do. I mean, for the last 4 or 5 months, somehow it's a little hard to digress and digest. So we will have to wait and see. I cannot say, I'm not an authority on this. I cannot say that this is going to work or this is not going to work. So, but to my opinion, there has to be a balance. Yeah, it is changing. There's no doubt it's changing. It's already changed. It's already changed, because you have to understand, companies will always start thinking, right? Why am I spending money on real estate for my employees when I can get efficiencies over here. That's what companies are going to think. The big companies are going to obviously think like that, which is valid, but how it might impact in the long term, we have to wait and watch. So I don't know whether it is going to be a positive. Everything in life, everything is positive and negative. So this also would have good positives and good negatives.
Good negative, right?
That's true. Yeah, Sanjay.
Not good negative. Negative cannot be good. So good positive.
Good positive and negative. Right. And I mean, in this case, when when with the advent of this cloud and AI, as we see that the team size is shrinking right now, and it's less people but more cohesive team as such. That's how the things are going up. What's your thought? What do you think? How this will go in like 5 years from now?
Looking at the cloud trend growing.
Everything going. I think IT will always be there, man. I have a feeling that no matter what, a person who is in the IT industry will, unless there's a severe dire recession, that there's some industries that are recession proof, right? Medical industry, they are recession proof. So I think IT would be the last one if I can think of, because there would be need no matter what, and the companies are growing as the team size is shrinking. I'd also understand the scope of work was also increasing from a company's point of view. So I've been hearing this since 2000, right? That efficiency is brought in.
Right.
What is, see, before cloud, there was if you remember, there was the ASP model, right? Hosting model. So I mean, we all thought, okay, that is a new way, and then cloud came. So technology keeps coming, but I don't think so that a technology by itself, IT industry by itself, is going to shrink. When I say shrink, in the sense the number of workers, I think there will be a demand, always be a demand for whether it is here, whether it is in India now. I think more so in the US because of all the restrictions being put on the visas and everything. So I think a local talent is going to get more opportunity here, to nurture. I think the newer generation of kids, who are graduating out, I think they have a very good future ahead of them.
That is true.
The skill set may differ in future, but the demand will be.
But they'll learn, no? That's what we have done, right? We're all learners, right?
Right.
We're all learners, right?
Right.
We all did that. I did that. I was programming. I didn't know what Power Builder was. I didn't know what Sybase was. I learned on the fly.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Great. Yeah, it's interesting, right?
Yeah, that is true. But how do you see actually this whole industry switch actually to, like, now they're looking at US resources, then India is also, which has progressed so rapidly into a lot of those, companies which have not gone into product focus. Now they are thinking, of course, because. So how do you think this whole team people are changing? Of course, this companies, then the cost will come in picture, whatever, other things will come in picture, and then, products like the startup community. How is it look? The whole startup community's landscape is changing. You have some ideas on that, like, because users can and encouraged.
No, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
Yeah, about the startup community and the people who are young entrepreneurs, they want to get into this and they are excited. They are doing computer science. But then they see this whole scenarios changing. So sharing around that means you must have seen those startup communities. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, obviously here there is a pushback against immigration, especially for whatever reason. And we are all from the Indian community. And I think, to me, I always felt, and this is, people, sometimes I feel it is misrepresented as being the norm with the current administration, which is not true. This has been there before the current administration. I always seen that the Indians, for whatever reason, have taken, even though we bring in the highest intellectual capital to the plate, I think we have been we're not being given our dues properly.
Cost.
I seen one senator here Once I was livid at it back in 2000, as a New York senator, call it as a brokering business, as a body shop business. I mean, to me, for that matter, all this financial services company, what are they? Aren't they broker company? Aren't they making money by charging a commission? So what is wrong with that? But then the thing is because it's from India, there is no voice that is like with other communities. There is a voice, there is a leadership that will come to their defense. For example, the Black African American. So if you say something, there is at least leadership there that comes to it. In India, among Indians, there's nothing, because we are all isolated islands, contributing in a variety of different ways. So I feel like this pushback immigration has been on for a lot of time now. But the US, I think, essentially, I feel at a point of time will realize their mistake, their folly, and they'll realize that the growth of US was based on immigrants coming into this country, smart immigrants, intellectual capital. And they're trying to avert that right now, which I think is going in the reverse direction. And there are countries like Canada which are going in the right direction, which are actually at least bringing in those, But what it does is it opens up an opportunity for the local kids here, born and brought up here. But if your demand is higher, then the supply is less, no? So, but at the same time, the countries like India, China, they have started having their own demands, and all this bigger financial services firm, they are located both in India and China. And they also experimented with Eastern European countries. But so far, I think their biggest push has been in India and then China, right?
Right.
Look at most of
for IT.
For IT. And if you have to believe the PwC report, which I just saw, they are saying by 2050, China is going to be the number one economy. US is going to be number 2. India is going to be number 3. GDP.
India is going to be number 3.
By GDP. By GDP, 2050. But you know what? I can also make a prediction for 2050, right? so I can say whatever, But it is PwC, so obviously there is some credibility to that.
They must have worked on some data.
But I think I would.
But it's encouraging for the young, you are saying, right? It will still grow, and
it will
you
still
have
grow,
to look at your dreams.
I mean, I still disagree. I still think US will be the number 1. China maybe 2, and India being 3 is very good. So
Positive,
so it is very encouraging for the young, because your growth is there, your market is there. It is how you go and do it is more important than anything else. So there'll be. I think there's an opportunity for young kids here. Obviously, they'll have the same challenges, getting resources. How do you do it? And those days of getting resources done, work done in India, where you do it for those are all. I think it's there, but it's not there anymore. Those are. So you need it today. You need to build a product company on a very tight budget. You have to have the ship in total control. You can't be, depending on one or the other, thinking that India is a low cost, because you'll lose your shot very quickly. Okay. So it is always better to keep, especially when you're in a product development company, in a smaller company, not funded. It's better to keep your product development team around you. I mean, that's the advice I would do. I mean, budget it in such a way, budget it very aggressively, but budget it in such a way that you have the control. You're not depending on someone who is 10,000 miles away.
Right.
So you can still find resource here, but it is going to get. I think it's going to get tougher and tougher until US realizes that that bringing in the capital, the intellectual capital from abroad, is what caused the spur in the growth over here. All this, you look at all this Google, Silicon Valleys. Where did that come from? Because I'm not saying necessarily it's all India. I'm just saying all over the world, the human intellectual capital that came, right?
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah, that's inspirational for the young people actually who are listening to you, that it's not, things are progressing and they're going to grow, right, Sanjay?
Yeah, and
go ahead, Sanjay.
in that line, we also see that you're very passionate about golf, and you have mentioned a couple of times here. What's the inspiration behind golf as such?
Yeah,
Because
how
it
did
beats you up. It beats you up, and then you feel like you have to go back to beat it down. So that's so there is no, for me, there is no such thing. Nothing. Besides my family, my children, I don't think so. There's anything better in life than being on a golf course. The camaraderie, the friendship, the people that you're with, the trash talk you can do, it's just the whole package that comes with it. There's nothing better than being in a golf course with your friends, with clients that you like, because that 4 or 5 hours of time you spend, that's all quality time playing with them. And the game, it's not an easy game. It's a tough game. So that is what makes it interesting. If it was an easy game, then nobody would come back. No? Right?
True.
I know you're also passionate about football, right? Like you like.
No, I'm a sports guy. I'm more passionate about, right now, I'm more passionate about, if you ask me, baseball. I mean, I like the Yankees. Yankees is my team. Same thing, football also. I like the Giants, and I used to like I don't tell anyone anymore, I'm ashamed. I used to like basketball. No, not Jets.
Oh, basketball.
Because
NBA. Yeah,
I
watch it.
Because I'm a Knicks fan. So that's why I said that's why I'm ashamed to say that I like.
Oh, that's Brooklyn team. It's become a Brooklyn team.
No. Brooklyn is the Nets.
Nets,
yeah.
Madison Square always.
I'm Rockets.
Okay, yeah. I have Houston. The scars. I have the scars from the Rockets. No issues. 94.
Yep, exactly.
Hakeem. So that's how passionate I am. I remember everything. 94 when the Knicks played the Houston Rockets in the final. We were up 2-0, and then we lost the series.
Right.
So that's why the Knicks are my team. So I'm ashamed to say I'm a Knicks fan. I am a Knicks fan.
I can understand.
They are playoffs now going on, right? I think.
They are. I don't watch as much. I watch some. I will watch, but I used to be very passionate about basketball when the Knicks were relevant in the 90s. But now I'm more passionate about Yankees, and obviously Giants also. They're okay. Some season they're okay one season, and then 5 seasons they suck.
Rams are better, right? Like Rams.
Right now, Kansas City. Kansas City is a team. Is good.
Yeah. On baseball, we had Astros here.
I know.
Going through. I don't want to say that, but yeah.
The cheaters. They robbed us. They robbed my Yankees of a ring. You know what? I was telling it to someone else that off the topic, this conversation, but the pandemic, if it was help anyone, it's the Astros. Otherwise, they would have got their ears chapped playing in front of the crowd everywhere. There would have been people calling them names.
That bad, is it?
Yeah, of course.
It was. Yeah.
It is. It still is. They're getting, the pitchers were throwing at them behind them. Right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A lot happened there. Yep. So while we are about to wrap our conversation, Mr. Sandesh, and it's so great to talk to you, I just want to know, what's your inspiration what's your message for young entrepreneurs as such?
Yeah. Summarizing, at the end.
Yeah. Like I said before, you have to have belief in yourself. That's what everybody will say, and I also won't say anything different. You have to get to the business to want to do business for the right reasons. Like you have to have that patience. The patience is the one virtue that you need to carry, because this is not going to be an easy road. It is. You meet your goal, you reach your goal. It is one of the most satisfying, enduring experience that you will have. There is no thing that can match that. But it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of personal sacrifice. Like I said, when you are an entrepreneur, you are working for everyone. You're everybody's employee. You think you are the owner? No, you're everybody's employee. working for everyone. And you had to have the patience to listen. And more importantly, the leadership aspect, right? I mean, which obviously I also learned. I didn't have anything born. Not that I'm a true leader even now, but a leadership is one that can understand, who can understand everyone, who can listen, but has to make the choices, whether tough or easy. And it's more difficult to make those tough choices. But if you have to make that tough choice, you have to make that tough choice. Because it is, at the end of the day, it is a company that matters, because you're in business, you're not in charity. So you have to make those calls. You have to make those calls for the betterment of the company. And if that betterment of the company means you need to fire yourself or put yourself in the backseat, so be it. So you have to do that. You know? But it is something that you have to nurture. You have to learn. You have to. It's experience teaches everything. See, your experiences in life is what teaches you, right? So, in everything in life is about experiences. So, but from that experiences, you have to learn. You can't keep doing the same mistake over and over again, you know. So you have to learn from those experiences, and you have to have a vision. I mean, obviously, just like anything in life, you know, you need a vision to know what you're setting out to do. You know, it cannot be about money, even though you're starting a business, like I said, not for charity, right? Money cannot be the first number one thing. The number one thing is value, because then when you have value, money will come automatically.
Right.
You know? So easier said than done, what I'm saying, but I think that's the right way. If you think that you're going to start the business only for money, you'll end up making money, but will you have fun after a certain point of time? You know, but when you do it for value, when you're trying to see how you can impact, you know, in a true positive, meaningful way, I think that is where the most satisfaction is felt. You know, you grow as a human being, you grow as a entrepreneur, you know, and you grow as a leader. I mean, that's where it becomes very fulfilling. You know?
True. So definitely, thanks for sharing the message, inspiration, and your journey with us. I'm sure our community will be greatly benefited to this kind of messages which you are sharing with us. So thank you once again, Mr. Sandesh. Thank you for joining the show, and thank you very much.
Anytime, man. Sandesh.
Thank you, Sandesh.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sandesh.